Okay, do you have the form to get it going?
Yeah, we're getting it now.
You can download it. If you go get it, as soon as you get your badge, just send me the back of it, because I need to put the serial number in the system. All right?
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Well, I don't want to pay twice. I don't want to put my kid in private school. Give me a back, put one down in the system. Talk about it, you about it. They don't put all that in writing because it is. Because
People said I've been wearing the same suit too long. I was like, I really got something to complain about, don't you?
It's going to be pretty important, I think. If you are, this issue of fees versus impact fees is going to come up. We need to present it. Also, we need to take a look at the TPA 45.
on the board, the chair, the secretary, so all the planners and engineers, the whole county, I gather it.
You got my message about a nice jacket today, huh? Thank you. I'm glad. Yeah. I called him this morning. One of those times.
No, he with a bow tie. You gotta know about it. So Kashamba's not in?
Walter? I'd like to call the meeting of the Riviera Beach City Council to order. It's November 6th at 6:01 p.m. Roll call.
Mayor Ronnie Felder.
Here.
Chairperson Kashamba Miller Anderson. Chair Pro Tem Julia Botel.
Here.
Councilperson Trodrick McCoy.
Here.
Councilperson Shirley Lanier. Here. Councilperson Douglas Lawson.
Here.
City Manager Jonathan Evans.
Present.
City Clerk Claudine Anthony is present. City Attorney Don Nguyen.
Here.
You may proceed.
I'd like to have a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mayor Felder. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Members of the public shall be given a total of 3 minutes to speak on all items listed on the consent agenda. Any person who would like to speak on consent agenda items, please fill out a public comment card located on the table directly outside of the council chambers and give it to the staff prior to the adoption of the agenda. Do we have any additions, deletions, or substitutions from the mayor or the council or the manager?
Madam Vice Chair, if we can move item 16, the status update on Fire Station 88, to after awards and presentation. It is a brief presentation, and so if we can move that directly after the proclamation, that would be beneficial to staff.
Thank you. Is that fine? You got it. Anybody objection to that?
Who's doing that presentation?
The interim director, Mr. Terrence Bailey of Public Works.
Okay. Would the chief be doing it as well?
They will be co-presenting if necessary.
So So we don't get to hear him at the end?
No, sir, if you move the item to the beginning, you will not get to hear his baritone voice at the end.
Okay, all right. No objections, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do we have any disclosures by council? Any disclosures by council?
No, ma'am. No, Madam Chair.
Hearing none. Let's make a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Councilperson Lawson.
Yes.
Councilperson Lanier. Councilperson McCoy.
Yes.
Chair Botel.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Thank you. All matters listed under this item are considered to be routine, and action will be taken by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a councilperson so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. We have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I want to pull number 8, Madam Chair.
Madam Vice Chair, I believe the chair is attending the meeting telephonically.
I don't think want to recognize me as being on the phone when I said here.
Anybody understand that?
The chair said she was not recognized to be a participatory member on the, as part of the meeting during the roll call vote.
Okay. My apologies. I was not aware she was attending telephonically. Chairperson Miller Anderson.
And I just voted yes.
I'm sorry, we had a deletion or a substitution
Pull number 8.
or number 8.
I object to that, Madam Chair.
Number 8 on the community benefits.
Yes.
Do we need to take a vote to pull an agenda item?
Madam Chair, we do not take a vote to pull an item. Under the consent agenda, councilpersons are able to ask that certain items be pulled. We just, once the items are pulled, you make a motion, okay? And then we do the public comment, and after that, we take the vote for the consent agenda, and after the consent agenda is approved, then we move on to the item that has been pulled.
Thank you. So we'll pull item number 8, the teen club.
Madam Chair, I wanted an opportunity to hear the presentation from the individuals that's putting this event on. That's why I asked for it to be pulled. But you have something different?
I wanted the item to stay on the agenda.
No, I'm pulling it off of consent.
He's pulling it off consent,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
just so that we can hear the presentation,
Okay, very good.
which is a great idea, thank you. So we'll vote on the consent agenda minus item number 8.
Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Chair, we do have 2 public comment cards on the consent agenda. The acceptance of public comment cards on the consent agenda is now closed. Fritz Pamphil, and Fane Losman.
Mr. Pamfield?
Fritz? That's okay.
Hello, elected officials. How are you doing? I'm here. My
Could
name
you
is
state
Fritz
your name?
Pamphil.
Thank you.
We're here on behalf of the Talented Teen Club in 595. We're doing our 3rd annual event at the Marina this year. And we want to thank the elected officials for the opportunity this year to join with us and give out 1,000 turkeys this year. And we really appreciate it, and we want to thank you very much for the opportunity. That was it. Sweet.
Thank you.
Fane Losman.
Fane Losman. Singer Island, I have 11 properties over there. I don't see J.B. Dixon if you want me to give a read off of those addresses at the moment. Prior to all of you taking office, the community benefits were done as separate items on the agenda. They were not on the consent agenda. Giving, for example, number 6, giving cities funds for $500, taxpayers' funds for $500 is not a ministerial task. It's not doing the minutes of a meeting. It's not signing off on ministerial things. That is a proposition. The Sunshine Law, Florida Statute 286.0114, of which I'm an expert on, states that for the purpose of this section, border commission means a border commission of any state agency or authority of any agency or authority of a county, municipal corporation, or political subdivision. Members of the public shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard on a proposition before a border commission. This city had it right years ago, and I have the agendas where each one of these items is a proposition. Some people here may not like the idea of having taxpayers' money going to a religious institution. They have a right to have their 3 minutes to talk about that money. Some people may not like some of these funds going to entities that are outside of our city. There was a community benefit package went to a school outside of Riviera Beach. Some people may not like the Youth Recreation Association. Although I've given them a big donation in the past, they may not like the money that's a private nonprofit. Let them raise their own money from people like me. Some people may not like that we are giving money to small business marketing strategies. The point is that's not a ministerial task. You're voting on something substantive, and you must give 3 minutes for that item like you did previously. Now, when this happened a month ago, Botel said, hey, you got 3 minutes, and had the police escort me away. I've been a busy person. I've done some traveling. I am going to sue you in your individual capacity that you are violating 286.0114. I should have, and anybody should have, 3 minutes to comment on each community benefit like the past. Now, all of you raised your right hand, and you swore to uphold the Sunshine Law. Now, you were standing there and watching Botel at the prior meeting and tonight say you only have 3 minutes to talk about 6 items that are not ministerial. It's not ministerial to spend taxpayers' funds and violate 286.0114 in the process. Now, if you were real leaders sitting up there, would you say, you know something? I remember back in 2015 and 2016 how it used to be done. I'm not going to be a party
Thank you, Mr.
to
Lozman. Your 3
Botel
minutes
breaking
are
the
up.
law.
Thank
So the
you.
3 of you have the ability to overrule her. And you
Please
say, you
be
know
seated.
something? We're going to pull that off. We're not going to be a party as elected officials
Mr.
on that
Lozman,
board
please be
to having
seated.
her remove somebody.
Mr. Lozman,
Now, you should
Your
make
time
you
is
should
up.
make a motion to say, no, we're going to have each one of these called individually.
could I have Mr.
You see
Lozman
that?
removed?
So she is right now breaking the law, and you are party to it by your acquiescence and by your silence. So I'm thinking, why would you do that? Why would you compromise
We
your
have Mr.
right
Lozman
to
removed from the podium, please.
To uphold the law? Why would you do that?
Madam Chair, that completes public comments on the consent agenda.
Item number 8.
We're going to take the vote on the
Yeah, sorry.
approval of the consent agenda. That's okay, Madam
ahead.
Chair.
So moved.
We have our
Second.
motion. We have our motion. Thank you, Council. Councilperson Lawson.
Yes.
Councilperson Lanier. Councilperson McCoy.
Yes.
Chair Botel.
Yes.
Chair Miller Anderson.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Madam Chair, move number 8, they've already actually gave their presentation, so I move to pass number 8.
We have a second?
Second.
You can call the roll. We've heard their presentation on number 8. We have a motion and a second.
Okay, hold on, Madam Chair. Hold on for a moment.
Chair Miller Anderson appearing by phone. We need to know the reason that she's appearing by phone to determine whether or not she's able to vote.
She had a dental appointment, and she's still in pain,
Illness.
so she's
Okay.
still,
Thank you.
illness.
I had oral surgery.
Thank you.
Okay. The motion was made by whom to approve number 8? Mr. McCoy, and seconded by
Lawson.
Lawson.
Councilperson Lawson.
Yes.
Councilperson Lanier. Councilperson McCoy.
Yes.
Chair Botel.
Yes.
Councilperson Miller Anderson.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Any person who would like to speak on an agenda item, please fill out a public comment card located on the table directly outside of the council chambers and give it to the staff prior to the item being presented to City Council for discussion. Members of the public will be given 3 minutes to speak on each regular agenda item. In no event will anyone be allowed to submit a comment card and speak on an agenda item after the resolution is read or item considered. Do we have any unfinished business?
No, Madam Chair.
Do we have any petitions or communications for filing?
No, Madam Chair.
Awards and presentations?
Proclamation for Dr. Gerald Burke, longtime Riviera Beach educator. Is there a representative here from the family?
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This proclamation declares the first Friday in November will be Dr. Gerald C. Burke Meeting of the Minds Day in the city of Riviera Beach in honor and celebration of his extraordinary service and achievements. Whereas Dr. Gerald C. Burke was dedicated and enthusiastic educator in Palm Beach County for 33 years. And whereas during most of his career in education with the Palm Beach County School Board, Dr. Burke served as a teacher at 3 schools in Riviera Beach: Lincoln High School, John F. Kennedy High School, and Suncoast Community High School. And whereas at John F. Kennedy High School, Dr. Burke implemented modern mathematics to all grade levels and implemented the PSSC physics curriculum. His greatest reward as a teacher was seeing Black students being placed in an environment where they were able to work on advanced topics in mathematics and science. And whereas to achieve his goal through the Salt of Illiteracy program, AIOP, he organized a special component known as the Homework Assistance Program. The program assisted Black students who were maintaining A and B averages in mathematics, ranging from algebra to advanced placement, calculus, and whereas at Suncoast Community High School in 1972, he started teaching advanced placement calculus, advanced algebra, advanced geometry, and conducted research for his PD thesis. He completed his doctoral study in teaching students at Suncoast. Advanced Algebra 2, his research was accepted and approved by the thesis committee and was awarded his PhD in 1973 from Michigan State University. In 1974, after receiving his doctoral degree, Dr. Burke was appointed chairman of the mathematics department at Suncoast Community High School, and later that was awarded Palm Beach County's Teacher of the Year. And whereas he was the former or founder of the director of Fannie Lou Hammer Summer Institute for High Ability Black Students. The institute was a 4-week tuition-free tutorial program designed to provide continuous instruction beyond the regular school term for students who were enrolled in advanced and honor mathematics courses. And whereas through his tireless advocacy to inspire and stimulate the minds of students, he tutored 6th grade students in math at Lincoln Elementary School, resulting in students scoring higher on the math section of the Standard Achievement Test in the late 1980s. And whereas Dr. Burke is a faithful member of Hearst Chapel AME Church and has served on many committees and boards, most notably the trustee board. And whereas Dr. Burke can be proud and unforgettable expressions and impact he has on his former students, his legacy will continue to resonate within the minds of former students, parents, and colleagues as well. If former students are around, when the name is mentioned, they immediately start raving about his unique, brilliant style of teaching. Dr. Burke has enriched our city with his service, and we will continue to advocate and promote his mission to groom mathematical geniuses and brilliant scientists from Riviera Beach. Now, therefore, I, Ronnie L. Felder, Mayor of the City of Riviera Beach, by the power vested by the residents of Riviera Beach, do hereby proclaim the first Friday in November to be the Dr. Gerald C. Burke Meeting of the Minds Day. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the official seal of the City of Riviera Beach to be affixed on the 6th day of November, 2019 AD.
Well, I suppose I should have introduced myself when I first got to the podium. My name is Michael Burke. I'm the oldest son for Dr. Gerald Burke and Mrs. Murdis Burke. To hear all of those kind words, I'm reminded it's the same guy who used to tell me to make sure I took out the trash and meet him at the dining room table with my mathematics book for homework. It's an honor to be honored by the City of Riviera Beach. We lived in Riviera Beach prior to moving to West Palm. We lived at the apartment, the 4 It's a four-unit apartment building right there in front of the old Lincoln Elementary, which is now, the current Lincoln Elementary. It was Lincoln Junior High School then, 1356 10th Street West. My father has had an impact not only on students, but also on people that lived in the community and the city of Riviera Beach. And on behalf of my oldest sister, Geronda, my sister Patty, my brother Marcus, my sister Tanya, we thank you sincerely for the proclamation for my father's day to be honored by the great city of Riviera Beach. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Again, thank you very, very much.
Madam Chair, we're now on to item number 13A, the status of Fire Station 88 projects.
Madam Chair, if I can have the interim Public Works Director, Mr. Terrence Bailey, and interim Fire Chief John Curd provide an update on Fire Station 88 and the progress.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Terrence Bailey, Interim Public Works Director.
Good evening, John Curd, Interim Fire Chief.
In the event you didn't know which was which. To give you an update on the status of Fire Station 88, we are currently, as of this weekend, we advertised the awning and covering publicly for the covering at their temporary location at the Public Works site. But specifically, we are moving forward with the design. The demolition of the existing building next to Barracuda Bay is in progress. We've looked into a number of different delivery models on how we can expedite getting that building on the ground and clearing the land and putting sod down so you will not have to see that building there too much anymore. The method that we've looked into is a piggyback or a cooperative purchase agreement through Palm Beach County. Luckily, Palm Beach County has already vetted a list of vendors who specialize in demolition services, so we'll be able to bring to you at the next council meeting within 2 weeks that agreement with a work order for a vendor to demolish that building. We anticipate construction or demolition would start in December and may be able to wrap up before the holiday break, but at worst, probably mid-January when that building will be on the ground. So with that, that's pretty much the update on where we are with the demolition of the fire station.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Were there public comment cards?
Madam Chair, there were no public comment cards on this item. The acceptance of public comment cards on this item is now closed.
Thank you. Any comments from council?
Madam Chair, if I may, there will be an accompanying resolution that will come before the board as part of the agenda item at your meeting that we're hoping to move to November 18th that will authorize us to comply with the process or accept the process that Palm Beach County adopted for securing vendors. So it is imperative that we effectively approve that resolution to follow that process. In the event that we do not accept that resolution, then we would have to go through another process that would probably take about 6 months for us to effectively demolish that structure. So this is the most expedient way. In the previous resolution that the board did authorize, it did provide staff the authorization to proceed forward to get solicitations or quotes for the services. But in the abundance of caution and with the intent to be transparent with the process, we decided to comply with the processes that the county follows for vetting the vendors, getting those vendors that have all the appropriate documentation, and then ultimately getting quotes for them and going with the most responsible and responsive bidder.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from council?
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Let's move on to item number 14.
an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, providing a time extension not to exceed an additional 180 days from December 2nd, 2019. Mic check. From December 2nd, 2019, the original expiration date of the current moratorium previously enacted by ordinance number 4133 for a total moratorium time period not to exceed 360 days, expiring on May 30th, 2020, as to the filing, receiving, or processing of any application or permit associated with lands having a special preservation future land use designation in whole or in part, including submerged lands and uplands, or lands defined as wetlands, or a wetlands preservation area within Chapter 23, Article 3 of the city's Code of Ordinances, in order to review, amend, and develop codes and land development regulations associated with the city's comprehensive plan and the special preservation future land use designation, along with codes for coastal construction and wetlands preservation, in order to protect and conserve the city's natural resources, providing for the boundaries subject to the moratorium, providing for conflicts and severability, and providing an effective date. Madam Chair, we do have public comment cards on this item. The acceptance of public comment cards on this item is closed. However, Mayor and City Council, I need to advise that there is a member of the public that has put in 3 cards for this item.
We will only accept 1 card for this item. That's our protocol. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Can we have a motion in a second?
So move.
Second. We'll hear Mr. Gagnon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council, staff. Jeff Gagnon, Acting Director of Development Services. As read into the record, you have a ordinance on first reading for your consideration, which would extend the time period for the previously enacted ordinance. The original ordinance was enacted on June 5th of this year, and the time frame for that ordinance was 180 days, which is set to expire on December 2nd of this year. We did have a discussion at the City Council workshop on October 5th regarding the amount of time we had left in the moratorium and the amount of work that staff still had to do in order to complete the tasks at hand. We're still looking at some of the mapping capabilities, other wetland research, as well as working with our consulting attorney to finalize some new regulations for council consideration in the near future. It's worth noting that the previous citywide computer system issue did work detrimentally towards our ability to complete our work within that 180-day time frame. So staff is requesting an additional extension for a time period not to exceed 180 days, which would set that expiration date on or before May 30th. If we can complete the work in advance of that date, then the moratorium would be lifted. So city staff is requesting approval of this ordinance on first read.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comment?
Thane Lozman, J.B. Dixon.
Thane Lozman. J.B. Dixon stalks me all the time. I'm not sure what your problem is, lady, but you need to get a life. The only person in this room that owns property in the moratorium area is myself. I own property individually. A lady liked me. She read me in the paper. She just gave it to me. I said, I got to give you something. She charged me 24 grand. I own property in Halo Development. That property cost $1.4 million. And we own property in a trust, which was like about $400,000. So you add that all up, it's close to $2 million, and I have another friend of mine, he paid about $500,000, so it's well over $2 million of property that's being affected by this moratorium. Now, first of all, let's talk reality. This is nonsense. This is the continuing taking because the cyber attack at most were 30 days. Okay? Gagnon is purposely trying to delay the project because this individual He was a corrupt individual and there was a probable cause charging affidavit that he broke 2 serious laws regarding intimidating a building official and impersonating one. And for some reason, Dave Ehrenberg had not charged him yet because he's afraid he would impact his future ability to get a job. But I think that's going to change when he sees what's happened. He told me years ago he was going to do everything in his power to see that I could never develop my property, starting with not giving us addresses. We had to get the property appraiser, we had to fight it out. He doesn't need 180 days. He's just doing that to screw with me, as has been his goal ever since I purchased those properties my friends did. Gagnon is a racist. What is a racist? That's somebody who doesn't like black people. Gagnon shut down the easement to the beach because he said black youngsters should go through the private beach, not through the easement across from my property. I had to file a lawsuit to get the easement open because I went over there with 3 of my black friends and they fenced it off. Why is Gagnon still working for the city, Mr. Evans? Can you explain that? Gagnon filed a black chief building official because she refused to rescind a permit from my fence and Dan Taylor's dock. Why are you allowing him to still work here? You can independently see that he rescinded, he wasn't licensed. You can call up the state attorney and say, is there a probable cause affidavit he broke the law? And they'll say yes. Why is this piece of garbage still working in Riviera Beach? That's what I want to know, number one. Number two, we pay taxes on these properties. We've been paying taxes on these properties, myself and prior owners, going back to 1924. And you're going to take away our development rights with a continuing taking going on for a year when most of the computer system was down for 30 days. This is just a continued harassment from Gagnon. Millions of dollars of taxes are being cost because you don't want development. When I supported you, Ms. Lanier, you said you had no problem with the development over there. When I supported Mr. Lawson, you had no problem. When I supported Kachamba Miller Anderson, she came over the property, that it would be a good idea. We added a couple $100 million to the tax roll. Now, I'm a principal in 2 other entities who want to make comments relative to their properties
Thank you, Mr.
here.
Lozman. You can sit
Not
down
just
now.
Fane Lozman. I put a card in for
Mr.
Renegade
Lozman,
2
you can
Trust
be seated.
and Halo
Those
Development. They
cards-
are allowed to comment.
Mr.
They are allowed
Lozman.
to comment
No, they're
on
not.
ownership in that area. And the 3 of you need to stand up and do something about it.
Sit down.
We have 3 Don't tell me what to do. Okay, we have 3
Lozman,
entities that
please
own
sit
properties
down
in there.
so that you're not removed.
Okay.
I want to say something to the people watching at home, particularly if there are children watching. It's really important that we respect not only our elected leaders, but staff in this community. Ad hominem attacks at the podium are not appreciated and will not be tolerated. Next.
J.B. Dixon.
J.B. Dixon, 3000 North Ocean Drive, Singer Island in Riviera Beach. I also could give you 11 more addresses if I named all my friends who said that I could speak for them, but I won't. I wanted to ask the council to pass this ordinance on first reading because it is essential to the protection of the waterfront, not just on Singer Island, but the entire lagoon. There are, as you have heard many times before, all kinds of aquatic life that can be easily be destroyed, in addition to the unsightliness of what is supposed to be a preserved area. We have very few preserved areas left in Florida that are not threatened, and we are fortunate to have one of them. It can only help us in the future in our economic development. The entire population of Singer Island, absent maybe 100 people, are against the development of the submerged lands. That's why they were originally protected. And I understand that the comprehensive plan for the city calls for them to be protected, and all that requires essentially is to bring our zoning into compliance with that comprehensive plan. So it really seems like a pretty cut and dried case to me, despite all the hysteria expressed tonight, and I hope that you will vote for it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, that completes public comment on that item.
Thank you. Any comments from council?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Gagnon.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Could you give us expectations and what's actually going to occur over this next timeline? Originally, when this was brought to the dais, I asked about what were we going to be accomplishing, what was going to be our plan for this moratorium, and was it going to be enough time? Was it going to be too long of a period? So right now, we're asking for another extension for the moratorium to add it to equal out about a year now. What is it going to be done? What is going to be the process over the next 6 months of this moratorium, and what are it going to be looking to accomplish?
Sure, it's a good question. So part of the discussion on October 5th was really the progress to date. One of the key items that was identified was the fact that our current zoning designation is not consistent with our future land use designation within our comprehensive plan. Due to that, we need to take steps to ensure that it is in compliance. And with that, we would bring before City Council for consideration an ordinance that would amend the current zoning designation to be consistent and compatible with the future land use. The other item that was kind of brought to light through our research is the fact that we don't currently have any regulations that govern the use of floating structures, so items that are not registered vessels but are not docks, so this weird in-between type of use that has becoming more prevalent in other areas. So we want to try to get out ahead of that and additionally provide an ordinance for council's consideration. So we had some regulations in place that would help us kind of manage expectations with that type of use in the future. Third large item is really our mapping that was approved with the wetlands ordinance. I think it was back in 1982 or 1983. It was done at a point in time where it was really pen on paper, and that hasn't been digitized to date. So we want to really use our GIS capabilities and create a digital map, hopefully an interactive map that will help identify wetland areas of concern, so it's very clear and transparent, and it'll be an important tool for us moving forward.
Thank you, Ms. Gagnon. Madam Chair, if Mr. Evans, if we could get an update from Mr. Gagnon on a monthly basis, sent over to us, emailed, with the status of what's happening, what's the details of the moratorium and what we're looking to accomplish, so that we don't wait till the 6-month period to determine if we're going to add another moratorium or just to make a final decision, just so we can get a status update.
No problem, Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Evans.
Any other comments? Hearing none?
Councilperson Lawson.
Yes.
Councilperson Lanier. Yes. Councilperson McCoy.
Yes.
Councilperson Miller Anderson.
Yes.
Chair Botel.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
And we've done the fire station, so we have item 15.
Resolution number 11119, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, authorizing the implementation and production of the 2020 Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration and providing an effective date. Madam Chair, we do not have any public comment cards on this item. The acceptance of public comment cards on this item is now closed.
Thanks. Can we have a
So
motion?
moved. Second.
Thank you. Any comment? Do we have a presentation?
Madam Chair, I'll make my comments brief. This is a procedural resolution to show the city's financial commitment to proceed forward with the festivities associated with the 2020 Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration in the city of Riviera Beach. This resolution is necessary for the Florida Department of Transportation to ensure the permitting process for the parade goes on without any issues. There is some modifications to the event that staff has ran through the committee, and in lieu of doing a gala event, there would be another festive event that staff is in the process of coordinating. It would be similar to the gala, but it will not have a situation where we would have a keynote speaker, and that would reduce the cost associated with the event exponentially, as there was a financial liability associated with the gala in previous years. And at this time, staff recommends approval of the resolution that's before you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Ms.
Madam
Lanier?
Chair, I think that in the wording of the description of the event, you have that the parade will be Saturday, November 18th, 2020.
Yes, that is a typo. I spoke to the assistant manager concerning that one. It will be actually Saturday, January.
January.
Correct. Yes.
Any other comments? Madam Clerk.
Councilperson Lawson,
Yes.
Councilperson Lanier, Councilperson McCoy,
Yes.
Councilperson Miller Anderson,
Yes.
Chair Botel.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Okay, we've done 16. I think we can move to public comments then.
Madam Chair, if you so desire to move to public comments at this time, you're more than welcome to do so. However, I need to know how long do you want me to accept public comment cards, since it's not 7:30?
Well, we could see how long it takes and then decide, because I have a feeling it's going to take a while. Yeah.
Okay.
You can stop at 7:30. Right.
Madam Chair, my suggestion was just close it because I don't want to, I guess, encourage other people based on hearing comments to come and put in comments after we get 30 minutes in and then we decide we're gonna wait till 7:15, then now we may pick up an additional 15 comments. So I say if you reasonably,
All right, I
what
agree
time do
with
we
that.
have? I would say
Then
15 minutes, 10 or 15
Yeah.
minutes.
15 minutes.
So if I understand the statement made by Councilperson McCoy, we are closing the acceptance of public comment cards at 6:50?
Yes, that's fine, thank you.
No, 55. 5 minutes till.
6:55.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, please read the statement into the record.
Oh, sorry. Public comments should be restricted to issues, matters, or topics pertinent to the City of Riviera Beach. Please be reminded that the City Council has adopted rules of decorum governing public comment during official meetings, which has been posted at the entrance of the council chambers. In an effort to preserve order, if any of the rules are not adhered to, the council chair may have any disruptive speaker or attendee removed from the podium, from the meeting and/or the building if necessary. Please govern yourselves accordingly.
Thane Losman, Alan Schultz, Cindy March. Yes, sir.
Thane Losman, public comment. For those viewers who are watching on TV, every single house on Singer Island was built on a piece of property sold by the state of Florida in 1924. Out of that piece of property, about 80% of it's been built on. The 20% that's left over is our property. Our property was dry land also in 1924, but a contractor illegally dredged a channel adjacent to our property and used that dirt for free to build up North Ocean Drive. And there's a survey that reflects that. That's why there's water there now that's about a foot deep. There's no manatees that swim in there. There's no fish. It's just an artificially made body of water that we pay taxes on. So people like Botel, who lives in a condo, and other people, Dixon's buddies who live over there in houses, they all live on the same piece of property that was sold by the state in 1924. And we have a survey reflecting that. But because they got there first, they don't want anybody to get there. So that this is some pristine artificial reef or something, or reef with little fish swimming around, it's just a big mud flat. And it's just continuing retaliation for me, for the efforts that I have done to improve the quality of life in the city. What have I done? I paid the ultimate price after I fought the legal battle to stop the eminent domain, where they were going to take everybody's homes, these poor people's homes along the waterway, because they wanted to give them to a private developer. I funded that battle. In the process, I lost my floating home at the City of Riviera Beach Marina. What happened then? I went to all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. Supreme Court takes 65 out of 57,000 federal appeals, and I won that battle. Then the city, like Botel, her predecessor, they had me illegally arrested at a council meeting making public comments 15 seconds into my comments. That case ultimately went to the Supreme Court. I won that case last June of 2018. I'm the only individual that's ever won 2 cases at the U.S. Supreme Court on 2 different questions presented. But has that intimidated any of these people up there? Not intimidated. Have they learned any respect for the law? Have they learned any respect for the way meetings are to be governed? No. They just think they're drunk on power and they're just little dictators and they can break the law. So it's up to the young people here to say, you know something, we're not going to put up with what's going on in this city. We're not going to put up with corruption. We're not going to put up with a city manager who said he wouldn't come back when he got a $190,000 payoff and never returned the $190,000. He gave a deposition when we know about the conspiracy, Mr. Evans, between you and Botel. You have a lot of problems. Okay, why don't you read the letter that was filed in your federal court case that I sent in, and I talked about the transcript that's in the file now. I told you, don't come back to the city. Wire fraud. You may have you may be federally charged for what you've done. Why is that so dumb? Anyway, you need to stand up to
Time is
corruption.
up, Mr. Lozman.
And
Please sit
Botel
down.
is one of the most corrupt officials you ever have the pleasure of meeting.
Alan Schultz, Cindy March, Ernestine Gordon.
Good evening, Alan Schultz, Riviera Beach. Sadly, I'm here again tonight to request that the city pay my outstanding final 2019 invoice for my Riviera Beach Workforce Development Consulting and Support Services. Here are the real facts. I was issued a purchase order. Here it is right here. It happens to say for contracted services for the Riviera Beach Workforce Development. There's no date that it ends. It just says contracted services. In fact, I have provided council and Mr. Evans with samples and explanations of my workforce development work product, a copy of the project plan, not to exceed monthly fee arrangement, business background, education, and extensive workforce training experience. I'm here tonight to tell you that absolutely none of what Mr. Evans deliberately, the confusing allegations he presented you with, counsel, about me and my efforts to disparage my reputation, none of them were true. Not a single one of them. The city paid all of my 2018 invoices. That's another fact, which were approved by interim purchasing director Ricky Little, Councilwoman Botel, interim city manager Karen Hoskins, and now assistant city manager Deidre Jacobs. This is compliments of some nice individual, I assume, in the accounts payable department. These are screenshots of my purchase order. You'll notice, because I'd like all these in the public record, that under expiration date, it's blank. It also says contracted services. And as you said, Mr. Evans, it's not my responsibility to set up a contract. It was the city manager's. And you've not done anything about it, which is just appalling to me. Also, here's a project plan which was sent to me that Councilman or City Manager Hoskins filed in her records. It spells out exactly what I was going to do. This was available to you as well, Mr. Evans. I ask you, Council, how could such well-intentioned work effort, which created such success and forward momentum, warrant such scornful treatment of me by Mr. Evans, and frankly, Mrs. Botel, too? In addition, why are these two individuals being permitted to confiscate my work product without paying for it? What message does this send our business community, residents, and the Workforce Development Task Force members? For the good of our city and the young people we're all trying to help, I, for one, would like to move on. I do not relish standing up here presenting all this embarrassing evidence or fact-checking Mr. Evans, nor do I look forward to dragging the city into court to resolve this matter. But I assure you I will, if this situation is not resolved.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Your time
Finally,
is
I'd
up.
like Mr. Evans to advise
Mr.
us
Schultz,
tonight on
your time is
camera,
up.
in public,
Your time
everybody
is up,
watching,
Mr. Schultz.
where this stands. Appalling. Again, I'd like this put into public record. Oh my God, the Gestapo. Here.
Cindy March, Ernestine Gordon, Blue Brown.
Good evening, Council. I just want to elaborate on.
State your name and address.
I'm sorry, this is Cindy March. I don't think I need to state my address, nobody else did, but I'll give it to you, 201 West 25th Street if you want to know. Okay, I just want to elaborate on Mr. Gagnon, what Fane said. I mean, the way you all treated Lady Goldwine, once again, Mr. Evans, it's personal with me. That is my blood niece. And what you all took her through, had her arrested. You might have wasn't here, but Kashama threw rocks and hit her hand. You never left here. And I'll say that over and over again because they conversated with you from the day you was gone. And with cold storage, you all fired her. It's public records. You all fired her on the 28th. Cold storage came to the city and got their fees waived. 2 or 3 weeks later, they was having a grand opening. I hope you all can connect the dots for the FBI because it's coming and it's coming soon. Okay? Lady March brought money to here. She was a whistleblower for what was right. And you all had to move her out the way to do what you all needed to do. That's fine. Some of you all up there, I did vote for you all, and I will vote for you again. But Botel, you needs to go because you got your hands in everything. And it's not good to have your hands into everything. Sometimes you have to just, like I told Lady, be still and let God do the work. And I'm going to tell you how God did the work. I was at the courtroom 2 weeks ago. That post that Wanda Moore put in by Lady March was scared to go in the courtroom, she wanted to go to trial to have you to know. The city of Riviera Beach lawyer didn't want her to go to trial. They wanted her to take a plea and pay $100. He was so astounded to see her dressed up with the family member, including the parents, where she was ready to go inside the courtroom. We don't even know whether the courtrooms had the lights on or off. That's how God worked it. And all of her charge was dismissed, where you all falsely had her arrested, saying that she was practicing without a license. And all the while, she had the credentials, and y'all invested for her to go get a better credential on an international level. And none of you all that was sitting on that board at the time, I'm tipping you all three there because you all wasn't on the board, okay? Nobody congratulated her. What you all did, y'all stuck up y'all feet in her neck. Now she got so many medical problems going on because of her stressful job that she loved it so much. And she fought for Stony Brook. I want you all to know she fought for you all. But you know who went and took them tags off that door? Because Shama Miller and them took the tags off the door. And Tanya Davis saying that the place was livable and the place was not livable. Now she got to go to court for that. Because they trying to use her like they did Flint, Michigan. But let me tell you something. It's the last breath in my mouth. I'll go behind and be a Sandra Bland behind the jail cells when it come down to Lady March. Because like I told you before, blood is thicker than water. I'm not here for bickering with nobody, not even nobody out here.
Thank you,
I
Ms.
just want
March.
somebody to tell the
Your
truth
time
and be
is
a
up.
leader and be
Thank
a
you, Ms.
great
March.
leader.
Ernestine Gordon, Blue Brown, Lloyd Brown.
Good afternoon, everybody up there.
Could we have
My
a little
grief
quiet?
is a reference to the stoves. Can you hear me?
Could we have a little quiet, please? Thank you,
Does
Ms.
this
Brown.
work? Can you hear me up there?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Well, I have a problem with the stoves out there. Our stoves here on Barack Obama Boulevard, those 24-hour stoves. Mobile Station, they close at 10:30. Chevron, 24 hours. Tiger Food, 24 hours. The 33rd Street up there, 24 hours. You know what? At 1, 2, and 3 o'clock in the morning, cars is in the community. And you know, when you are asleep and they come through there, sometimes the police be behind them, sometimes the police is not behind them. Some of them, when you awaken, it's hard for you to go back to sleep. I think these those hours need to be closed. I don't know why it's so hard for the councilman to get through their head that the community is paying the price. You are not paying the price. The community behind them is paying the price. The liquor store have their hours. Monday through Thursday, they close at midnight. Friday and Saturday, they close at 2 p.m. On Sunday, they close at 12 o'clock. Why you can't put those 24-hour stores on the same schedule? Maybe we will get some sleep at night, and people won't be walking up and down the streets all night long. They'll go to bed and go to sleep sometime, and we can get our rest. Now, we need to do something about this. Please help us on this, because we're not going to stop, because we want to sleep at night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Blue Brown, Lloyd Brown, Bessie Brown.
I'm Blue and I'm Lloyd. And That's my dog name, so I put him down so I can get the extra 3. But anyway, I mean, the lady really makes sense. So y'all need to get out there in the neighborhood. Like what you doing, going to Washington, D.C. and all that, that's okay too. And like you say, Lawson, you say these workshops, a lot of these guys over here don't know nothing. And the girl was telling me back there, well, modern day, you know, as far as the phone, you can look on your phone. Let me tell you, I erased every contact I had messing with my phone. And probably there's a whole bunch of people out there like me. And you know, like these people that live in Stony Brook, let me tell you something. I wouldn't want to live there. You know exactly what it is. You ever heard of a reservation? They wanted to put the Indians on the reservation, but these people wanted to live their lives like they wanted to live them. And see, when you put these people on Stony Brook and then you don't give them nothing but keep giving them money, you taking away what black people used to enjoy, work. They used to enjoy working. But now you got them in there and the building's falling apart and you don't want to do nothing about it. You keep bringing up, talking about building up the marina and all that. It's black people got boats in Riviera Beach. They've been sitting there for 10 years. They haven't moved. And then I want to ask you another question. You know what? There's a big pile of boats sitting down here right down the street from the code enforcement office. And you know what? It's been sitting there ever since I said something about it. And then there's another pile of bricks right between S Avenue around 23rd, 24th Court. I don't know. I'm not really sure, but it's a pile of bricks there right by these apartments. They have kids, and those kids go over there and get hurt. The code enforcement, I think his name's Shaw. I've seen him talking to somebody sitting up in the yard, probably one of his friends. And see, that's what's wrong. I've been discriminated against long enough when I was black, and black people have. But to have a code enforcement department discriminate, they go around and pick and choose, that ain't right. And you know, I put this on churches. I know a church that have a person in there that cut the lawn. He's been there 30 years cutting the lawn. And I know it's a couple of churches. Since this guy told me don't mention the churches that don't do it, so I mentioned the churches that do hire their own. There's Parish Church. He hires his own lawn maintenance man. And this man been cutting that lawn for the longest. And so does Mount Olive. They hire their own lawn maintenance man. I'm not going to talk about the churches that don't, because they know who they are. All you got to do is ride around the neighborhood, and then you hear people talking about brotherhood and all that. You want me to come in and put in your plate, then you put something in my pocket so I can put stuff in my plate when I go home. It's not right for you to just take, and not give back. I mean, anybody in here can get into heaven, but we want something done right now. And the only thing I got to say now, it seems like you people up here who are black, you scared to be black.
Betsy Brown, Crystal Lewis.
Madam Chair, time to close the
Thank
public
you.
comment, please.
Could you close? Thank you.
Madam Chair, the acceptance of public comment cards at this time is now closed. Betsy Brown, Crystal Lewis, Thomas Williams. Betsy Brown. Follow Ms. Brown, Crystal Lewis, and then Thomas Williams.
Good evening, Bessie Brown. I'm
Just
here
state
on
your address, Ms. Brown.
I'm not saying that.
You're a Riviera Beach resident, though.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
It's not on the card, so you need to change the card if you want it. I'm here on behalf of these people in Stony Brook. These people are being treated terribly. They are moving them out into a hotel, and then when they come back, they have changed the locks on the door. Now, you all sat through here and changed this buyout, just recently, and actually had the thing changed from Stony Brook Management, Stony Brook LLC, then to Azure. And I was told that Azure is taking on the responsibility of what Millennia was supposed to be doing. I'd like to know what in the world is going on with Millennia and Azure and all of this stuff, because you are responsible for this, because the city made the agreement and they had 10 items or something that had to be completed before all of this is going on. And we don't know. We don't know because we don't get anything. And I'd like to know what is really, truly going on, because Millennia is doing nothing over there, nothing for none of the apartments or anything. Nothing is being done, and now it's changed to Azure. You know, we need some fixing and some reckoning, because I need to know, I want to know what in the world is going on in Stony Brook. And then it's changing the locks on the people's doors and then giving them a eviction notice at the time. That is totally ridiculous. And whoever is, up there between all of you all and Mr. Evans and the mayor, you all need to find out what's going on.
Madam Chair, before Ms. Lewis speaks, we had a member of the public that tried to submit a card after the comment cards were.
We
comments
closed
closed.
comments.
Thank you. Crystal Lewis, Thomas Williams, Rodolfo Placarte.
Should I still state my name?
Yes.
Y'all know me, all right? I came here tonight to do business with you guys, but since you already picked sides, I'm gonna go ahead and just say what I have to say. And I got some information tonight for all of you. Botel, I understand that you approved site plans on your side of town, Siga Island, and when y'all approve y'all site plans, y'all get it done like yesterday. Now we have our impoverished side that when you approve it, nothing happens. Let's cut the chase here. We know they're not gonna do nothing. Y'all know they're not gonna do nothing. Ronnie Felder, everybody here tonight voted for you, and we gave you a timely manner to come get back with us. And after the last meeting, I asked you to come meet my people. None of you came out there, so I brought my choir to y'all. And they're not allowed to speak to y'all at the moment. If you want to speak to them, meet them at their house. But I met with you, Ronnie Felder, at your place of business, and you said that we should work together. I don't work with who my mom worked with. She's corrupted, you're corrupted. You know why? I have your paperwork right here. Why is you approving things behind our back? My people's voted for you, but you approved millennium's things. This is the paperwork. I want this public too, all right, boss man? Because you know you foul. And warning comes before destruction. See, when Noah tried to warn the people, they didn't come on time, and once that door closed, the flood came in. You now pick and choose your side. When they ship sank, don't jump on mine, because we ain't voting for you no more. I don't care how you feel. But at the same time, everybody is getting evicted right now as we speak. My East apartment has fallen in. We got a lot of kids with mold and asbestos in their blood, but you don't want them to hear what y'all have to say on national TV. I think you need to have more compassion for the kids in the other way and not your way. You understand? I believe everybody. You always got your hand in the cookie jar. You understand? Y'all been taking for so long. And I'm going to say this right now before I wrap it up. I was going to present my site plan to do business with y'all, but I'll find some more peoples. I'm going to the higher people so they can revoke Millennium's license, because y'all just approved, hey, Reverend Masters couldn't get it together in 12 years. And now you here, we ain't finna give you the same amount of time we gave him. Y'all ain't black, y'all bootlickers. It's over with for you, boss lady. Let's go. If y'all wanna speak to my people, come to Stony Brook.
Thomas Williams, Rodolfo Placarte, J.B. Dixon. Thomas Williams. Rodolfo Placarte.
Hello, how you doing? Rodolfo
State your name and address, please.
Rodolfo Plancourt, Derry Beach, Florida. That was a beautiful sight. For me, it was. You saw a community organizing, and they want to take control of their lives. So my comrades have every right to safe housing. I see so much potential in this community, and the city is not using them. You commissioners are public servants, right? You serve them, not the other way around. I'm tired of coming here, and I will continue to come here until they take control of Stony Brook. It's been more than a year now. So get it together and serve your constituents, please. It's your job. You get paid for it. I don't get paid for showing up here. That's all.
Thank you.
J.B. Dixon, Worry Leonard.
J.B. Dixon, 3000 North Ocean Drive, Singer Island, Riviera Beach. I would just like to say that in all of these meetings that I sit through, I hear a lot of wild accusations about corruption, but I never see any backup proof of corruption. I don't believe anybody up there has their hand in anybody's pocket or has taken any kickbacks and all of these allegations. If you know that someone is corrupt, you know what they did, tell someone about it. There's a million different places to complain. There's the Attorney General's office, there's a police department. Everyone has a corruption unit, it seems. Yet none of these people file. And those who do, I'm thinking about a particular one that was just closed recently, are found to be groundless. Investigations that take half of a year and waste resources and find that none of it was true. And there's no punishment for that, for wasting those resources and trying to ruin people's reputation and having the pleasure of saying for going on a year, well, you know, so-and-so is under investigation for corruption, which is about the only true thing that people like that ever say. So if there is evidence of somebody being in Millennia's pocket, if any of you have taken any fund, then let it come forward. Don't just stand up here and throw out ridiculous charges about corruption. And I think it's especially good that we have to have some kind of a process for talking about people being called some of the names that they have been being called. We all have a right to come up here and express our displeasure with the people that we elected or did not elect. But again, decorum is not something that is ridiculous to ask for. And I think that we have a right to disagree, but not for a right to call names and to make wild accusations with absolutely no proof. Over and over and over again, the same people come up here saying the same ridiculous things. And the problem is that some people, again, the young people perhaps sitting at home watching this, suddenly thinks, my God, I live in a city with an entirely corrupt government, which we do not. And I just want to make that clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Worry Leonard.
Good evening. My name is Worry Leonard, I stay in Riviera Beach.
Thank you.
I am the president of the National Village Tamalpine Homeowners Association. This last week, the park in National Village was redone. I'm here to say thank you to everybody that participated, everybody that was there, but we have one stipulation. The residents were not a participant. We were never told anything. The only thing we heard was about on the news. I called Mr. Blankenship, and he said that everything was done by these individuals. He had no control. There was nothing he can do. We never went to a meeting. We still don't know who the children are that was on TV that selected the toys for our neighborhood. We did not do anything. And that day, they asked me to speak on that issue. I cannot speak on an issue and say thank you when we did nothing. We were never notified. And to do it on a Tuesday, when the residents are working, the kids are in school, that telling me there that you did not want us to be participant. As of today, I hope that the other parts that are going to be redone in Riviera Beach have participants of the residents. And it doesn't take 6 months after you take all the equipment out to redo the equipment. Channel 12 found kids in the neighborhood to sit out in the grass and say, we have nothing to play with during the summer. But yet, the city could not find the residents to ask, what do you want out there? There were things we wanted. There were items we wanted, but You pick and choose who and what you wanted. Once again, National Village Timber Pines say thank you, but please give us respect and give respect to the other people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, that completes public comment.
Thank you. Mr. Evans, do you have answers for some of the items that were brought up?
Yes, Madam Chair. With regards to the comments made on the code enforcement issues, I had a brief discussion today with the city attorney, and we have some items that we do want to bring before the council for consideration concerning the nuisance abatement program and how do we take corrective action to address some of the nuisances that have been articulated to this council and previous councils as well. So that would be something that would be coming before you here in at least the next 30 days. With respect to the Stony Brook situation, obviously that is a situation that we're not at liberty to speak much about, but Azure is actually the name of the complex, the new name of the complex, not necessarily a subsidiary company or anything like that. That's the new name of the estate or the property. With regards to the Timber Pines playground issue, that's something that certainly we can work with whomever else to inform and engage the community. But it's important to note that the funding for that playground, a large portion of that funding was provided by philanthropic donations from outside agencies of our community. So we certainly are appreciative of the commitment of funds, and then also Councilman McCoy putting in some of the sector dollars in his district to complete that particular park. We have a couple of other parks throughout the city that we will be working with other agencies, and we'll ensure that there's opportunities for community involvement in the build process and the coordination. And that concludes the citizen comments.
Mr. City Manager, I have a question about the fact that we've been hearing for many, many months, certainly from Mr. Brown and now from Ms. Gordon, about these 24-hour stores. Is there something that staff can look into with regard to making a recommendation that we curtail the hours of some of these places such that they're more in line with what she recommended? I think it's about time we maybe took a look at that at least to see what we can do.
That will be part of the presentation that we provide to the board concerning the nuisance abatement process and what flexibility or leniency or policies we can put in place with regards to those particular issues.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from the council? Discussions by city attorney? City council committee reports? I had occasion to be at the Florida League of Cities District 1 luncheon today, and a number of items were raised, all of which I communicated to the city manager, and they're being dealt with. They related to, excuse me, TAP, and a couple of other issues, notably the ADA compliance of our website. So those are being taken care of, as I understand it. Statements by the mayor and city council, starting with the mayor.
Yeah, I want to make a comment. I was elected to do a job. My integrity and what I've done for the city speaks for itself. I will continue to be a upstanding, first of all, man, married man, a father of 3, and I will represent this city with the utmost respect. I just want my constituents to know, yeah, it hurts to hear some of those things because I've always, for the last 15 years, helped people in this city, but I won't stop. I know it's a rumor that I'm not going to run. Again, I don't know where that's coming from, but I'm in it to win it.
I'll vote for you.
You know, and I just want to state that, hey, I love my job, and I look forward to the turnaround of this city, along with this board that's up here, so bring it on. I'm ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Lawson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last week, myself, the mayor, and city manager Jonathan Evans were able to travel to Washington, D.C. to lobby for the city, to discuss the things, the needs, the issues that the city has. And I just wanted to commend and give praise to our city manager. While me and the mayor, we had an amazing experience. We were there to really just kind of learn a little bit about governance and how to lobby for the city. City manager went straight to work, and he was amazing there, and I really commended him for the work that he put in to try to put Riviera Beach on the map in regards to funding and support. So thank you, city manager. I appreciate everything you did while we were there. And look out, we have a lot of things coming down the pipeline, so we're excited about that.
Madam Chair, before you move on, and forgive me.
Sure, go ahead.
The same thing, I think me and Councilman Lawson, when we got in the truck, we were very well pleased with our city manager. We told him he made our job easier as we was able to have conversation with Washington. But I tell you, we're on the move, we're on the go, and I'm proud of you, and you guys should be proud of your city manager also.
Also, I wanted to thank all the residents that came out to the workshop, Nonprofit 101 workshop. It was a phenomenal workshop over the last 3 weeks. We had a lot of residents that came out, and it's actually being aired on Channel 18 and Riviera Beach TV on YouTube. So if you guys want to catch up and just kind of learn about nonprofits, how to establish, how to run, and how to effectively operate a nonprofit, and grant writing, it is available for all residents to watch and to go back and watch. It'll be airing on YouTube and Channel 18. Finally, we're going to have our mental health forum kickstarted again, symposium starting on December 17th. It's going to be mental health in the minority community. So that's something that I really want all the residents to try to attend. It's going to be right here in the chamber at 6 p.m. On December 17th. So thank you again.
Lanier?
I just have one thing. I just wanted to know that there was a comment made about the consent agenda and the community benefits. Is there any harm in putting it on the regular agenda? Just asking. I mean, I don't, just wanted to get some clarity in terms of the best way to make that work.
There is no harm with putting it on the regular agenda, or there's no harm with regards to putting it on the consent agenda either. We can, if it's the pleasure of the board, we can provide you with a memorandum that speaks to the comments that were made earlier. And if that memorandum causes for any pause from the council, we can make the modification as recommended.
Yes, that's my only, because I think that even if we were to see the community benefits ahead of time, we can still put them on the consent agenda. I just wanted to be able to make sure that people who wanted to comment on them had the opportunity to. And also, if we, as Councilman McCoy, wanted to put one off to hear it, that we would be able to do that if we needed to.
And certainly we can look into that and provide the board some options. We are working on a modification to the policy and the procedures for community benefits, and this is probably the most opportune time to introduce the new assistant to the city manager, Mrs. Marcia Noel, that's in the back of the room. That she is she's on day 3, and her undergraduate degree is from the University of Florida, so don't hold that against her, but she did make amends by getting a master's in public administration from the University of Central Florida.
Yeah, there we go.
So we hold that in very high regards around here. So, but she's going to be working on a lot of those projects and bringing it forward to the council for consideration.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. One more thing. I just wanted to, I thank Jonathan Evans for his continued tireless work for the city of Riviera Beach and for us, and also for the residents of this city for coming out all the time, making their voices heard, always giving us a hard time, but that's a good thing. And I want the residents to stay engaged because this is how we get work done. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman McCoy?
Madam Chair, thank you. Mr. Manager, do we have, I think I kind of, maybe I heard you pump fake on the date for the 18th.
Yes, because of the National League of Cities, where we believe that there's going to be a couple of your peers attending, we're asking for the council to consider moving your meeting to November 18th versus the 20th, as the conference in San Antonio starts on the 20th.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I thought we had settled on it, so we haven't.
The clerk was going to ask for confirmation. We did send out a doodle poll to the council, and most of the council has responded. And so now we're just seeking clarification that that date works fine. But based on the response that we got, we believe that that's the date that works best for the council.
Do we need to vote on that?
No, Madam Chair. The notice has already been posted.
Okay.
That the meeting has been moved from November 20th to November 18th.
Thank you.
And prior to that meeting, you'll have a utility district meeting. So we will start at 5:30 on the 18th.
Thank you.
So when do we vote and when do we don't vote? Because, we were just here 2 weeks ago, and I had to scramble in from out of town just to fill out a special meeting notice. So I don't understand. What's the difference now than?
When it comes down, Madam Chair, when it comes down to moving the date of your regular meetings, there is no need for a vote. According to the city charter and the code of ordinances, when the council or the mayor wants to call a special meeting, they are to put it in writing to the city clerk. So that's the difference. With you have a special meeting, the meeting that will be held on the 18th is not a special meeting. It's going to be your regular city council meeting.
So my question is, can we not determine as a body in the meeting to set a special meeting?
Madam Chair, from what I've been told by the city attorney, it still has to be placed in writing.
Anything else?
So, Mr. Evans, the December workshop, you spoke about the nuisance abatement. Does that encompass code enforcement?
Yes, sir. All of that.
Okay. So I wanted Mr. Bailey around so I can talk about these concerns, and I don't even think it's been brought to your attention. I know police, I've received a couple comments about the ongoing road construction, the debris that's kind of ending up regarding that, and then disabled vehicles or abandoned vehicles. And it's become a problem where construction crews are actually milling around vehicles that don't have tags or expired tags. And as tough as it is for us to get our roads, maintained and repaired, we don't need those kind of problems. And I want to see how we can get it addressed. I want to bring to your attention, 2 weeks ago, the city of West Palm did this Operation Cleanup. And I'm not certainly suggesting that we offer donations, but we need to have a citywide program because you can't just leave a car with no tag on the road and it becomes a nuisance and it blocks traffic. The other thing, too, about trash is we know when we have our scheduled days, and also I think Public Works has certainly took the lead on trying to help with some of the debris that just magically appears on someone's sidewalk or on the road, but it's becoming problematic because the residents call you about almost every single thing and they expect you to come, and most times it's when City Hall is closed. So I gotta really commend Arthur Johnson because whatever day it is, he's trying to figure out a solution, but certainly we have to address these unsightly eyesores from sometimes absent landlords or even some property owners who don't even address it. But I hope that's a part of that conversation related to nuisance abatement, that we address some of the more imminent things such as abandoned vehicles. So is that going to be taken up in December?
Yes, sir. And what we've had the conversation with staff, and even as early as today, we had a all-inclusive discussion about code compliance, about nuisance abatement, about our lien program, about some steps that we can take to cure some of the issues throughout the community. And so we want to have that holistic discussion with the council because we don't want to look at it piecemeal, because I think we've done that a lot, and we want to look at how we can put in policies and procedures in place that effectuate the change, but also options to assist folks to move some of that trash and debris and ultimately bring those properties into compliance. So we are going to have a holistic discussion that will incorporate all the departments plus more of the folks that are intimately familiar with the code compliance and the nuisance abatement program and how we can curtail some of the problematic situations that we have throughout our city.
Okay. I would appreciate that, but I want to make sure that we are aware and that it's disseminated among code enforcement and certainly police that when these items comes up, because it creates, whether we agree or not, right? The streets belong to the public, but it's our responsibility to maintain them. And when someone leaves a vehicle, we can't wait until we develop, policies. We have to get it addressed right away. And what I've seen over the last couple of weeks relative to these road construction folks completely at a standstill because they have no idea where these vehicles come from. They have to be addressed sooner than later because we're paying them while they're waiting, and it's not fair to the people that live in the community as well. So I want to move that kind of relatively.
I will certainly look at that and see what options are available to us. I know in past agencies that anytime there's roadway construction that's occurring, that roadway construction and the site is under the control of the contractor. So I've seen situations where contractors effectively tow vehicles to get them out of the way, and that is in collaboration with law enforcement, et cetera. But we can look at what options are available to us so it doesn't impede the progress on some of these capital projects and what steps we can take legally. But that's obviously a conversation that I will have with law enforcement and code compliance, and I'll do that as early as tomorrow.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Miller Anderson, do you have any comments?
No, not good, because I know the sound is not great.
Thank you. Hope you're better soon.
Unable to make a whole lot, but thank you all so much for bearing with me.
I'm not sure what she said, but.
She said thank you all so much for bearing with her.
I have a couple of announcements. We will be having our seafood festival on Singer Island this weekend, the 9th and 10th. It's going to be great food and great music all day, Saturday and Sunday. So please come out to the Ocean Walk Mall. We'll have there's a Led Zeppelin cover band called Red Zeppelin. I can't attest to their musical abilities, but I think it should be a lot of fun for everybody. I'm also happy to announce that we will be having our informational sessions about the Palm Beach State College courses that will be delivered right here in Riviera Beach. Give you an idea about how you can earn a college credit and possibly get free tuition at that meeting. There'll be folks from the college helping you fill out forms and so on. The meeting again is Tuesday at the Event Center. There will be a free lunch at noon and a free dinner at 6 o'clock. And I'm going to give you a phone number. If you would please text that number with the word lunch if you're coming at the noon meeting, or dinner if you're coming at the dinner meeting. And the number is 561-229-2325. It will be posted on our website. It's on my Facebook page and on Nextdoor. So again, the number is 561-229-2325. If you're coming for lunch or dinner, just text that word lunch or dinner. It'll give you a great opportunity to hear what Palm Beach State College is going to be offering right here in Riviera Beach. We've had a great opportunity to work with the JFK Middle School kids this last month and now continuing into November. October was Logistics Month, and Tropical Shipping did a fantastic job showing the kids what it's like to work in logistics. They took a tour of the port, they took a tour of the tropical offices, and they all had a great time. Excuse me. I want to address some of the comments that were made by some of the presenters. I am proud to sit here with my colleagues, those of them who are here tonight, and Kachamba, who's home not feeling well. We are, to say the least, the antithesis of corruption, in my belief.
What's that word?
Antithesis. No one on this dais is taking any money from anybody. And if anybody believes that to be true, as was suggested earlier, let them come forth with some proof about that, because it's simply not true. There was a comment made that I have something to do with site plans on Singer Island. This is just, I don't know where people get these ideas. I have nothing to do with site plans on Singer Island. So I just wanted to make that clear, that although we do have a code of conduct when people stand up here, sometimes it's hard to just bang the gavel and have people sit down. We know we don't want to prevent people from expressing their ideas. On the other hand, we really find it hurtful and untruthful when people accuse us of being corrupt. So that's what I have to say for this evening. If there's nothing else, we stand adjourned.